All right. So thank you everyone for bearing with me on that minor technical issue. That's a first for me. This is going to be kind of an informal Q&A for internships and about finding internships. My name is Rob Ewing. I'm the marketing communications manager within the department. And I also have an internship for psychology students. And we have members of advising here, as well as members from Tempe Care 7, as well as the Phoenix Cancer Support Network. Did I get that right? And what we're going to do is we're going to go through some basic questions. And then if you have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, and there will be an open Q&A after that you guys can ask as they come up. So, okay. So to start it off, I was going to go over kind of what is the main purpose of an internship. And I was a psychology student about a little over a decade ago. And the way I found my career was through an internship. It wasn't actually through my research experience. And that may be the case for a lot of you, especially if you're going into fields like business or into HR or other things like that, where an internship is a great way to get hands-on experience in a career without maybe going the doctor route or the graduate school route immediately, or maybe it's a good gap year. I've added Dawn as well as our advising team here to kind of add some resource support, or if you have any other questions about why you would do an internship, as well as if you want, we'll send out a link for Internship Sites. That way you can submit an application as you're kind of thinking through some of these things. Dawn, did I miss any other reason why someone would do an internship?
No, I think you covered it.
Great. So what I was going to do is I was going to ask what each of your guys' internship sites are. So what do you guys do as an actual business or as an organization? And then also kind of go into what does your intern typically do at your site? So Andrea, do you want to start?
Yep, I'm going to let Brady kick us off.
Hi. Hey there. My name's Brady. I work with Care 7. Care 7 is the City of Tempe's mobile crisis team. And what we do is the mobile crisis unit responds to 911 calls with Tempe police and or fire to assist at the scene of anything, basically anybody calls 911 for. The way that we use interns on calls is they facilitate interacting with clients and with PD or fire or whatever community resource that we might be working with on the call. What roles are available? We have a number of different roles here, including the mobile crisis van. We have a van that responds to crime calls only. We have victim services. So interns work with crime victims and victim advocates to connect them with resources. We have case management interns, and those interns also work with our case managers are also veterans. So we have veteran services. So they connect veterans to appropriate resources to assist them. Am I leaving anything else?
Youth specialists.
Oh yeah, youth specialists. So youth specialists are social work type positions that are in all the Tempe Union high schools. And we have interns that work with the youth specialists in the schools to connect with students in need. So did I leave anything out? Did I cover everything? Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's everything for Care 7. So we have a number of different roles.
So of those roles, how many of them can psychology majors do?
Any of them.
All of them.
Okay. So that was kind of the point I was getting to, is a psychology degree is such a broad degree, and it's so applicable in so many different ways that you'll see across all of our intern sites. It's extremely applicable, and you're in the right spot. Okay. I made a mistake. I didn't have our panelists introduce themselves. So I'm going to do that now. Andrea and Brady, do you want to start?
Yes, I'm like I said, I'm Brady Miller. I work with Care 7 on the crisis van.
And I'm Andrea Falsetto. I'm also with Care 7.
And I'm sitting off camera. I'm Martha Williams, also Care 7.
And then with our other panelists, Jenny, do you want to start?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny Martin. I have Adam Thompson here with me today. And I am the founder and CEO of Phoenix Cancer Support Network.
All right. And then is Catherine here as well?
There she is. Oh yeah, Catherine, you're there too. Hi.
I was an intern. I'm Catherine Pastuzak. I was an intern under Jenny and Adam for a year at the Phoenix Cancer Support Network.
And yeah, I'm Adam. I'm an and volunteer supervisor and recent psychology grad, current master's student at ASU.
Great. So I asked the Tempe Care 7, so now I'm going to ask you, Jenny, what is the Phoenix Cancer Support Network?
So Phoenix Cancer Support Network is an organization that, you guys hear me?
Or connecting.
Yep.
Okay. Phoenix Cancer Support Network is an organization that I founded a little over 4 years ago to honor the passing of my sister, Annie. She died when she was in college. She had a really rare type of bone cancer called Ewing sarcoma. And so she was 21 when she was diagnosed with cancer, 24 when she passed away. And, you know, I have a full-time job outside of Phoenix Cancer Support Network. I work as director of business development for a company called Arizona Center for Cancer Care. So I've seen now personally and professionally the effects that cancer has on people and their families. And I saw all the gaps. I knew exactly where the problems were, people needing ride to doctor's appointments, people needing someone to help them, you know, with their house cleaning, their in-home caregiving, whatever it may be to help a cancer patient make the journey a little easier. Phoenix Cancer Support Network wanted to be able to fill in those gaps that don't already exist in the community. So I gathered a group of like-minded people, and we've been at this now. We have a board of directors, and everybody works for free, which is where amazing interns come in and help us so much, because none of the work that we do would be possible without our interns. You know, Adam was one of my very first interns, and gosh, what are we going on, 3 years now, Adam? Yeah. So interns with Phoenix Cancer Support Network, and Catherine too. She says she was an intern, but she's never left me. So, so you know, it's really a cool opportunity to, you know, get on board with a mission that touches so many people and is in the hearts of so many people. I mean, most people probably even on this call have been touched by cancer in some way. You get to interact with patients. You get to then learn what a nonprofit organization from a business standpoint looks like. You get to learn marketing. You get to learn everything, because with our organization, everything is all hands on deck. And that includes our interns, who are just as much a part, if not more, a part of the organization than the board of directors. So that's me and what we do.
Great. So then I was going to ask Adam and Catherine, as interns from the psychology department, could you describe kind of what your day-to-day experience as an intern at the site is like?
Yeah, I can go ahead and start. So basically at PCSN, we kind of have, like Jenny was saying, two sides. We have more of a client operations side, and then we have more of the business side where you get to learn more about that nonprofit management. So the day-to-day can look different depending on the client load that we have that week, depending on if we have an event going on, if we have a grant application coming up, all of those things. So from the client side, doing client calls, connecting clients to different resources, and eventually our interns are able to do that independently and really get to learn about those social determinants of health that impact cancer clients. And then from the business side, we have marketing, we have our social media director that interns help out with creating posts, and we have grant writing, like I was saying, event planning, all of that kind of stuff. So the day-to-day looks different for every intern, and we try to tailor the experience based off of what their career goals are and what they're interested in.
Yeah, so I experienced that for sure. I started out just knowing that I wanted to work with the Phoenix Cancer Support Network, but I didn't have a specific job that I knew I wanted to do. So the great thing that working with them was I was able to kind of rotate through doing different things. So first I started with doing mainly client calls, reaching out to clients and hearing what they needed and where they were struggling and matching them with resources to help them. Eventually, I moved to helping out a little bit with social media to see if I would like that. Um, and I also helped out with some grant writing, helping with fundraisers. They do a yearly gala, helping with that. So, like we've been talking about, there's so many different ways that you can help out and learn a lot.
Great. And then I mentioned too that I also have an internship site. So I'm within the Department of Psychology. However, I have a marketing internship where I teach interns specifically about how to create people-centered design, as well as how would you communicate a message broadly and the hard skills behind marketing that really benefit from a background in psychology. So you can see that from all of these internships, they're all very hands-on and they all really relate to a psychology degree despite being in extremely disparate fields. So one thing I wanted to make clear too is what an internship is versus isn't, because I had the experience as a college student of an internship that really wasn't an internship and the sign that you should, run the opposite direction. So an internship should give you a hands-on feeling of what you're potentially going to be doing at that site. It shouldn't be getting coffee or getting lunches or running errands or doing something that's unpaid labor. And Don could touch on this a little bit more about the contract that internship sites have to sign about the expectations, but that's a good warning sign for you. If you're looking at an internship site and it sounds really cool, but they don't have kind of clear expectations of what you'll learn or benefit from, that means they're probably benefiting more from you than you are from them. So take that kind of mentality when you're looking for an internship site. Okay, and so I wanted to ask Tempe Care 7 about what their day-to-day internship experience looks like. They could choose any role.
Oh, what does an internship look like at Care 7?
Yeah, just the day-to-day, like when they show up, what do interns typically do or help with, or what responsibilities do they have?
It will really vary by work group. So it depends on where they're assigned. If they're assigned with one of our crisis vans, then they're going to get with their staff person and check out the van and make sure they've got the supplies for the day, make sure the van's clean, and then be ready to go for any time a call comes in. If they're working with victim services, they might be outreaching to some victims that we're familiar with within the city, conducting victim surveys, going with victim advocates to interviews, things of that nature. If they're working with our case management, they're probably going to be outreaching to people, not even so much outreach, but we get referrals. We'll get referrals from various work groups within the city, or we'll get people that call in and are seeking services, and our case management team will go out and address those needs. Or if one of our van calls is needing more follow-up, then our case management team might be providing those services and the intern is going to follow along with that. If they're in our youth specialist program, then they're working at one of the schools with the youth specialist to work with students, help facilitate support groups. And then we just added parent support groups, which I believe they're helping facilitate those as well. So it really varies day by day. What we always tell our interns is the willingness to be flexible and the willingness to take initiative and just kind of, I know it can be hard when you come to a program at first because you're not familiar with the culture, but we really want someone who's willing to jump in and just say, hey, how can I help today? What can I do?
Definitely. So that was going to kind of lead into my next question of when you're looking at internships or internship candidates, what's something that you typically look for in an applicant? Care 7, if you want to answer that.
Oh, okay. Again, I think we look for someone who has the ability to be a self-starter, the ability to be flexible, and somebody who's really good at communicating their needs, and letting us know when they, what's the word I'm looking for?
When they need help, when they need that like honest advice.
Yeah, or when they need a lot of the things that we deal with at Care 7, it might be somebody's first time experiencing different things. We sometimes go on scenes where there's a dead body present, where people are injured because there's been a car accident, or there's been domestic violence, or it's a completed suicide, or you're going to the home of a hoarder, or you're dealing with somebody who is experiencing homelessness and also experiencing a mental illness. So we need interns that are able to tell us if something's bothersome to them, if they're triggered by something. And we try to ask interns that right up front, so we're kind of aware and we can help them work through that, because an internship is a learning experience. So mostly we're looking for people that are looking for something that is different every day. Care 7 is never the same day twice.
Definitely. And I was going to ask the same with the Phoenix Cancer Support Network group, whoever wants to answer the same question.
I can start, and then Adam and Catherine, if you want to piggyback if I miss anything. Is that okay? So, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask what we're looking for in interns is compassion, right? Like the work we do is just, it's so important, and you have to be in the right mindset to put yourself, to learn the empathy, to understand how to communicate with people who are going through a cancer journey. It's a very specific patient population. And I, Adam is there, I am there, Catherine is there. The more experienced interns are there to hold your hand through that whole thing. Mostly Adam, he's really good at it. But compassion is the first thing that we look for, and the ability to empathize with our clients. Outside of that, reliability, right? Like if you say you're going to show up for something, we really count on that. We really need people to be there when they say they're going to be there, to call these clients when they say they're going to call these clients, and to document it in a way that's meaningful, so we know when we call them again, that what we talked about last time, or where they are in the journey, because we become their family through this, and we can't let them down. So really, compassion and reliability are my two biggest. You can teach the rest.
Absolutely, compassion is what I was gonna say too. And I guess being emotionally strong, it's sometimes really difficult, hearing their stories, and again, just being empathetic and being willing to just hear them out, be someone, because a lot of them are alone and they have no one to talk to about their condition. And I think being there for them is probably the most important thing that we do. Other than that, of course, like Jenny said, everything else can be taught, but, being a fast learner, being a willingness to learn in general, being able to hold multiple hats, and just wanting to learn every part of the nonprofit, space is what we're looking for.
I think to add on to that, empathy is huge, but being able to listen to somebody's story, and it does get very emotional. And a lot of the times, we deal with people crying, or we've had clients pass before, and it's really challenging. For me, what I've noticed is a really important thing is to be able to focus on the task at hand while all that is happening. So you're there to solve problems for them. So even while you're on the phone with them and they're crying and it's really upsetting, you have to remember to kind of weed through that and find out like, what can I do to help? What's the biggest thing to help? Do they need groceries? Do they need transportation? So yeah, just staying strong through that process.
Definitely. And while my marketing internship is significantly different from both of these internships, one of the things that I really look for is someone who's really interested in learning and getting better, and has kind of an ambition to grow in that industry, so marketing or social media or what have you. But what I'm not looking for is someone who's already skilled in that. I'm not looking for someone that is applying for a job, for instance. I think that's a big differentiator between an internship and a job, is that internship sites will not expect that you have that experience already, where a job might, where they're more interested in your willingness to be on time, to be punctual, and to really be on top of it, and to really put your heart into something. So I think that's where internships are really an awesome opportunity, is you get to kind of explore what you're interested in with a mentor that's really there to guide you, where there's not that critical part of the job where you're being evaluated for your skill. It's this growth opportunity. And I think it's a really beneficial part of college that not as many people take advantage of as should, because it kind of positions you for good long-term success. So for my last question for our group, before we have kind of an open Q&A, I kind of mentioned this about what does an intern benefit from doing this internship. So what do they get out of your internship? If you guys wanted to start, Tempe Care 7.
We'll swivel. I'm sitting on a really low couch. So I think our internship might be unique in that we don't have one specific population. We serve anyone who has entered the 911 system. So if you don't know where your interest might lie, you will get to experience a lot of different groups, populations. Yeah. We've even had interns before that had a career path in mind until they experienced something different and they did a complete 180. You'll get to work with children, the elderly, victims of crime, a lot of poverty related issues, traumatic incidents, and our organization's really big on adverse childhood experiences, and we do a lot of in-house training. So I think it's good to get the broad experience. And then because our populations are so broad, I think you get to learn a lot of the resources from everywhere. What happens after a house fire, what happens after a domestic violence incident. It's a really broad scope. So hopefully if you're involved and you're asking good questions, you'll come away with a lot of knowledge, and then you think on your feet. I think problem solving. So some of our strongest interns walk away with a pretty advanced skill set. Yeah. They might have something to add, but that's the first thing I think of.
Great. And now I'm going to ask the same question to the Phoenix Cancer Support Network. Jenny, did you want to start?
I kind of want Adam and Catherine to start to hear what they got out of their internship. But I think I know the answer to that. If you ask the majority of our interns, they get a little family out of it, right? They get a family of people that works together and helps people together and puts out fires together and figures out, how to take care of each other through very challenging situations. And they also get the knowledge that, over my 25-year career have learned, right? Because they sit right next to me and I take them through it every step of the way and introduce them to a lot of people that I know in the oncology community specifically, which I think has been really helpful. in terms of letters of recommendation for medical school or for PA school or for, I've got a lot of connections in the medical field. So that's been something I think is beneficial. Introducing them to other professionals in the community has been good for them. Also, you know, I think that they get really that true picture, like we talked about, of, you know, and this is of any good internship, and I've heard you all say this, you know, they get the client facing time, which I know is difficult for a lot of internships, but you actually get to speak to real people and interact with real people in their healthcare journey, which is very important for psychology majors. And then you also get to learn marketing, and you learn how to work a business plan. And when we are adding services to our scope, you learn how we write that into the business plan and take it to the board for approval, and you participate in the board meetings. And so it's really just a well-rounded opportunity to learn so many different things, from business to healthcare to people skills and marketing and all of that. I don't know, Adam, what did I forget?
Yeah, I mean, you did a great job. PCSN is definitely like my second family. I can talk for me, like from the clinical standpoint, because I'll be applying to medical school this upcoming cycle. PCSN has definitely been the most impactful experience for me going into medical school, and having that understanding of what happens to patients after they get a diagnosis and what comes with a diagnosis that a lot of providers don't take into account. Working with, you know, these social determinants of health, you get to work with so many different populations of various, you know, socioeconomic status, and learning how to navigate and interact with that is such great experience going into the clinical side. But of course, you know, we also have the business side, and our amazing marketing director is, you know, the top in her field with social media and marketing and things like that. So you'll get to work with her on those things if that's the pathway that you want to do. And in general, just being able to work with Jenny, who is a CEO of a nonprofit, is such a great experience working right next to her. And, you know, we're trying to start a for-profit palliative care, you know, business. And I'm, you know, a huge player in that right now, and I wouldn't have gotten that experience anywhere else, I don't think. So I'm so appreciative of all the experiences I've had, and I'm sure Catherine, she's had a great experience as well. So I'll let her talk more about that. But basically, anything you want to do, you can do it at PCSN. The limits are endless.
Yeah, absolutely. I've learned so much about social media and dealing with cancer patients, and, you know, just connecting with other businesses and things like that. I am like Adam in the sense that I do want to go into the healthcare field as well. So that was helpful for me in that sense. But there were so many other things that I learned in this internship that can apply anywhere. For instance, just working with a team of adults was so different than it was like when you work in group settings in class. It felt like I had a real job and I was really a part of something. And I think for the biggest thing for me as a student, you know, my junior year of going into this internship, I was just so scared. Like, I don't even feel like I'm ready for a real job. I'm not an adult. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And so I think the biggest thing I got out of my internship was just the confidence that I can work with, like in a team setting, I can work with others, you know, and I can help others, and like I can make a difference. I think that was probably the biggest takeaway for me.
Great. And then, like I mentioned earlier, mine is a little bit different. I found out pretty early on that I couldn't separate myself from the emotional part of being in a clinical setting. So I went more the marketing and creative route. So for the internship that I run, I try to train the hard skills that students don't have the access to. So a lot of like creative clouds, Adobe products, or the marketing cloud about how to create email automation or building a website. So for instance, right now we're building new ASU sites to be web standard compliant for the new one. So that's something that my intern will help me with thinking through how to be people-centered, and how to make it a usable site. So that's the type of thing that in a marketing one you would be doing. So that is my set questions. I know Dawn had a question that she wanted to ask, and then we'll go to some open Q&A.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I wanted to sort of ask if the sites could address sorry. The question I get a lot from students is that they're intimidated to go out and work with these populations, because both of the sites that we have here today, the work that you guys are doing is so very valuable to our community, and it's very intense. And I think sometimes there's an intimidation factor on the part of the student to think that they, as a student, can go out and do this work. And so can you guys talk just a little bit about how you train your interns and how you bring someone in that doesn't have any experience working with these types of populations or working out in the community, and bring them sort of up to speed so that they don't feel like they have to already have had that experience to go out there?
Well, I answer that because I feel like I'll be a jerk.
You're not muted. Sure. We'll go. So when our interns come on, there is a regional training through the Maricopa Association of Governments, MAG. It's a 10-hour training, and we do require our interns to go to that. And after that, most of the Care 7 training is in the field, and you're always paired with a staff person. So we're not just gonna, we're never gonna send our interns to the wolves, if you will. There's always gonna be the safety net of having a staff person with you, being able to debrief it after the incident is over. And then we also provide ongoing trainings each month for our interns.
Thank you. And Jenny?
Yeah, for us, so the first thing that we do is give students and interns the opportunity to say that they're not comfortable being in front of clients if they don't want to work in that space. And we have a director of marketing and PR who then kind of takes them under her wing if they want to go that route, and she kind of manages them, and it's all about marketing and PR. If they're interested more in just the business side of it, they'll spend more time with me, one-on-one, that kind of a thing. But if they do want to be in front of clients, but are a little nervous about what that looks like to begin with and don't want to get just, thrown out there, we had plenty of time to experiment on Adam on how to do that wrong. And he stuck with us and now heads up our training program for interns. And basically what he does is he lets them listen to some calls with some of our more seasoned interns. They listen in on the call. They will, he'll navigate those first few calls with them, say, okay, now we're going to send Jenny an email with our recommendation for what services we want to be able to provide for this client, a little bit of a background. And, it's training basically by listening to someone else work through it, and then just having a lot of people supporting you through the process.
Yeah, and the important thing with that is all of our interns are more seasoned. Me, Jenny, we're all there if they need any help whatsoever throughout the entire process. Even if it's been a few months and they're still like, we're gonna be holding their hand throughout the whole thing because we know how difficult it is to navigate all of these community resources that we have available. And so, yeah, just, we make it clear to our interns that whenever they need help, don't hesitate to reach out.
And again, we let them all attend our board meetings every month. They're very visible to they have visibility to everything that goes on in the organization. They all have my cell phone number. They can reach me directly. They can reach Adam directly. They can reach our medical director, our chairman of the board. I mean, we're really a close-knit group, and they have total visibility into the whole operations and feel super comfortable asking questions and for support and help when they need it. And if they don't ask, we ask them, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? So yeah.
Thank you so much.
So we've gotten a few questions here that are in a similar vein. So I'm going to kind of paraphrase them. We talked about kind of what you guys look for in an internship, but during the actual internship application, what are some things that help students stand out during that application? So maybe we'll start with Care 7 and then we'll go to Cancer Now.
What makes it, so we do have an application that's online, and then we ask our interns to send a resume. And really, I think that when we get a good first impression of our interns is during the interviewing process. We look for someone who is compassionate, who has an eagerness to learn, who displays empathy, and who really takes an interest in doing this work and in working with these populations, because it's definitely not for everybody. And I do understand that an internship is a good place to learn where you do want to be. So, but it's best if someone comes to us already having an idea that this is where they want to be, because otherwise it's not going to be comfortable for them. And they'll find that out really quick.
Yeah, I echo that completely from our end. I couldn't have even said that better. You know, it's the passion, it's the fire in the belly about wanting to help people. We look for that. Those people stand out right away. You know, people who are, you know, really giving and caring and nurturing kinds of people are gonna definitely stand out with us. You know, it's that feeling, you know, I don't know, I'm sure you've all experienced it with people in your life. It's that feeling of, you know, really just caring about others that stand out. And it's nice to see some experience, you know, for my entire life, high school, like I was always doing something and helping others. So it's nice to see, at least with our internship, that kind of a thing on a resume, even if it's, you know, just an animal shelter or whatever, you know, like anything that they've done in the past, I immediately go to that one and I like that one. But I agree, it's the in-person interview is everything.
Yeah. And when I interview our interns, I don't have any rigid questions or anything. I kind of just want to have a conversation with them and get to know their life story and tell them about our, you know, PCSN story and see how that fits. And if it does, then we're more than happy to bring them on. And, you know, that structure kind of reflects, like we were saying, how PCSN is a family unit, you know. So what we talk about in the interview and things like that is very much so reflective of how our organization operates.
All right, so we've gotten this in the chat, but in case you aren't following along with the written portion, I wanted to address it. So one of the questions is what sort of hour or time commitment is expected from interns? And the answer is 120 hours, but how that is broken out across the semester varies on site and the internship supervisor. And if you have more questions about that, reach out to Dawn in advising. Let me see. So I had one question for everyone is, you can choose one of these questions is one, how many interns do you typically have at a time, or how competitive is the internship? And Care 7, if you want to start.
We probably have right now, we probably have about 10 to 12 interns. We take interns from a variety of disciplines. The MSW interns that we have require 16 hours per week. So that means they come 2 days a week. Most of our psych, criminal justice, and other disciplines will only need 1 day a week because they'll need 8 to 10 hours. So we typically we can accommodate quite a few. It's just depending on how many MSWs we have and how many non-MSWs we have.
The majority of our, the Care 7 Crisis Van is a 24/7 program. So we have, you know, weekends, overnights, you know, after hours, you know, options available for a lot of different students. So that's why, you know, so sometimes people who work full time seek an internship with us because we have weekends, overnights, evening hours available most times. Like other work groups like case management, victim services, those are pretty much 9 to 5. But those, it's actually pretty competitive here. We have a pretty, I don't know, our interview process is, we want to make sure it's going to be a good fit, for the student here. So.
For us, gosh, the hours are really flexible with us because you can do a lot of it remotely, because a lot of it is phone calls, a lot of it, and obviously in this COVID world, we've learned how to do things remotely. We have the opportunity to go to a specific site. One of our partners in the community gives us some office space to use. So there is an actual site, but it's not mandatory for the internship to work from that site. And in terms of hours, I mean, there's so many things and so many hours that can be filled that, it's the minimum you need or the maximum you'll take, basically.
I also wanted to touch on how we have somebody asked in the chat, if you can't take on a full internship right now, but you wanted to volunteer and you wanted to help out. I'm sure Adam could talk a little bit more about this, but we do have certain partnerships where if you just want to help like 1 day a week and go deliver meals and drop them off for people, that's available as well.
Absolutely. We're always looking.
Desperately needed.
Yes. We're always looking for volunteers. We have a bunch of different partnerships going on, and one off the top of my head, our Joy Bus partnership, where we deliver meals to cancer patients every Wednesday at 10:45. So, there's certain things like that. And I mean, even if you want to do like one client a week or, however much you want, you don't need it to make it like a specific internship experience. If you want to get, some volunteer experience, we'd love to have you. And then in terms of like how many interns we have at one time, we do usually bring on about like 2, 3, but I mean, Catherine and I have both stayed, like all of our interns have stayed on and helped out. So we keep growing and growing and growing every semester that we keep taking on interns, just because our interns find that PCSN has been a great experience for them and they want to continue working with us and our population that we're working with.
So I had a question, Dawn, if you don't mind answering it, because we haven't really addressed it, is what is the process for applying for an internship?
Yeah, sure. So we have a website, which Rob posted at the top, and it'll be in the follow-up email as well. And on there, the process is listed. So don't feel like if you miss a piece, it's going to be, you won't understand, because it's all listed on the website. So essentially what we want students to do is think about what their career goals are, what their interests are, what kinds of things do they want to do with their psych degree, and then start doing some research on some sites, some community organizations, nonprofits. We have a ton listed on our website that we've worked with on a regular basis, and you're welcome to use those as a jumping off point. The contact information for Care 7 and for Phoenix Cancer Support are both on our website as well. But there's a bunch of other sites too that you can look through and see, and each one is hyperlinked so you can sort of do some research on that organization. And then your first sort of task then would be to reach out to those organizations, talk to them about what opportunities are available, what kinds of things you can do as an intern at their site. And then if you decide that you do want to pursue an internship with them, follow whatever their application process, interview process is, and then email me as well so that we can sort of be attacking it from both ends. And then if you are hired by them as an intern, then we would fill out the PSY 484 paperwork in order for you to then get the academic credit for working with that site. So the first piece is doing a little bit of research and then reach out and then work with me on getting the academic credit.
Great, thank you, Dawn. Did anyone have, how many credit hours is that? So,
It's 3 credit hours.
credit
How
hours.
many credit hours is the 120 hours? It's 3. So it counts as a full upper division PSY elective in the major. So you can use it towards your degree requirements as well.
Did we have any other questions? Feel free to ask them in the chat.
Hi, sorry. Could you just repeat what you said about the credit hours?
Yeah, so the internship PSY 484 is 3 credit hours. And in order to earn that 3 credit hours, you do 120 hours at your site throughout the semester. So between the first day and the last day of whichever semester you enroll in, you have to complete 120 hours at that site. So typically that's going to divide out to be about 10 hours per week throughout the semester.
Perfect, thanks.
There's also a question in here in case you aren't following the chat that was asking, are internships typically paid or unpaid? And the vast majority of internships will likely be unpaid, but they should have some sort of a course credit benefit or something where you're learning something. That's a question that you have to always ask when you're looking at an internship is kind of how you're getting compensated for your time. And that's typically through learning a skill or getting course hours. Some industries like finance may have paid internships, but those are more like training programs into a career rather than exploring a field such as our internships. This is a question, Don. For internships, do they need to be done for credit?
They don't have to be done for credit, no. Some sites, and I think I've seen in the chat here that Phoenix Cancer Support takes volunteers, and I'm pretty sure Care 7 also takes volunteers from the community as well. So you can do, am I correct, Brady, over there?
No.
No?
I'll have Martha speak on that.
Okay.
No, so we discharged our volunteers when COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
We intend to bring them back, but we are not recruiting volunteers.
Okay. Good.
At this
Thank
time, yeah.
The
Thank
more
you for
volunteers
clarifying
we
that.
have, the fewer internship spots we have.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. So Phoenix Cancer Support, we do have other sites that also do volunteers as well. So it just depends on the site, but you can do volunteering. It's a little bit different depending on the site. One thing that if you're in the academic credit, you have an advocate so that you don't end up being the coffee person. If you're in the academic credit, we have a whole contract on file with what you're going to be doing for that internship credit. And so, you know, our sites that we have listed have been pretty well vetted, and they don't do that with the interns. But, you know, if you're picking a different site off of that list, that we haven't worked with before, having an advocate to make sure that you get a really good experience is helpful to you.
We have a question here that says, are there opportunities to apply for full-time or part-time jobs at your sites after completing the internships? And we've seen that with Adam and Catherine, that looks like that's the case. It may vary depending on site. I'll let you guys answer it as well. But the benefit that you have from doing an internship is it does position you well for any application after the fact because it adds experience at a real workplace, which you're not getting from just being in the classroom. Tempe Care 7, do you mind answering that?
Sure. So a 1 semester internship, probably you wouldn't meet our qualifications for employment in any of our work groups. But like Robert just said, I think it's still a valuable experience that you can then build on. We do occasionally have master's level interns that over the course of a full year, plus whatever other experience they have, we might hire them on as a pool employee. We do love to groom our interns, but to be quite honest, a 1-semester internship is too brief. We have had a couple interns that liked it so much, they did sign up for a second class and the feeling was mutual. So we accepted them a second time so that we could use that second internship as a training period to then hire them. So a lot depends on performance and whether or not you're cut out for this line of work. But yeah, we love interns.
And I think this was answered in the chat as well, but are Phoenix Cancer Support Network and Care 7 currently recruiting for summer or fall internships?
Yep, we are. We are.
We're currently recruiting for summer. And it could be summer, like their internship term could be summer, fall. And typically I know the psych students have just 1 semester, so it would be summer right now.
Great. And we just got a question from Kyle. I will answer this one. So what can you do with a career in marketing, or what kind of experience can you get with or from marketing? So marketing is something that is pretty much in every single business. You'll have a marketing or communications person. And that is an extremely broad term, but it basically is the act of communicating or sending information to prospective clients or sending stuff to the market. This can be anything from running Facebook ads to doing graphic design, to doing emails, solicitations, to doing anything that's sort of revenue generating or attention generating is a marketing job. But it is an incredibly broad term that, kind of like psychology, it's incredibly broad in how you can use it. Marketing is much the same. And they're fairly lucrative jobs as well. So it's a decent career path to look into if you are interested. But it is a very work intensive field where you have to be on top of your game or you will lose your job pretty quickly. Okay, so we've got a few more minutes left. So are internships available to freshmen and sophomores, or are they just geared towards juniors and seniors?
It kind of depends on the site. Typically, we encourage students to wait until junior year, maybe do some volunteering freshman, sophomore year, and then do an internship more towards their junior, senior year, mostly because we want you to have had some of the upper division psych theory to go out and really understand how psychology is being used in these organizations and how that's relating back to your academic work that you've been studying and working on. It also gives you, the internship sites also give you a lot of experience to then come back and utilize in your academic classes when you're writing papers or doing research or things along those lines. You've got some real experience that you've seen sort of out there face to face with the community. Which is really helpful in your academic side too. So it sort of benefits both sides.
All right, we got 30
oh.
seconds left. Any final questions?
Wait, Adam wanted to chime in there.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Adam, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. I was just gonna say PCSN does accept all levels of collegiate experience. However, what Dawn was saying is definitely also important. I went through the psychology internship experience actually separate from PCSN as well. And I did an internship my freshman year through the psychology department. Given I took 2 upper division psych classes my freshman year as well. So I did already have that experience going into that. So I would say if you do have that upper level psychology course experience, I think definitely you can start doing internships right away. And I think that's important to really kind of get a handle of what you want to do early on in your college career. But otherwise, yeah, I came into PCSN my junior year. Catherine did as well. And a lot of our interns are more upper division collegiate students. So I think it can go either way.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending tonight. I hope this was helpful to everyone to kind of see the wide range of internship sites and possibilities. If you have questions that weren't answered, be sure to send Dawn and advising emails, as well as there's the submission form on the site. We'll be sending a follow-up email with all of those links too, so you don't have to remember it right now. But kind of think through some of these and how your personal experience can benefit from an internship. So thank you everyone for coming in all of our panel. This was really great, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys, bye.